Greetings. All right, y'all. Okay, I'm just gonna let the chat fill up and we'll get into our live, our commentary and whatnot. So, happy Wednesday. Okay. Okay. Quick sound check. Quick sound check. Okay. Hope everybody's doing well. See if I can hear myself. Okay, yeah, I can hear myself. Okay, cool. Okay, we're good. So let's tap in. Make sure you guys like this video. All right, so welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am Chinoa, aka the Walu Child. Okay, over here on this channel, we blend a little bit of tarot, ancestral wisdom, and a little spiritual commentary here and there for those also returning to themselves. Okay, for my sensitive ones, my empaths, my intuitives. Okay, anyone who feels or ever felt invincible, misunderstood. Also for those who are healing their visibility wounds, okay? So on this channel, we talk about owning our voice and trusting our intuition, okay? Reclaiming visibility, celebrating our gifts, and of course, our uniqueness, okay? Our uniqueness and our journey, okay? Whether that's our past, whether that's our present and our future, okay? So just a quick disclaimer, y'all. Take these messages as educational or entertainment purposes, okay? I do take my practice seriously. I do not do fear-based readings, okay? I only practice clarity, okay? The siren work that I do also is discernment-based, okay? Also, I tap into water energy, okay? So water is spirit work. To me, is spiritual hygiene, okay? It's cleansing, protection, and remembrance and restoration, okay? So this space right here is clarity. It's about clarity, courage, and authentic expression over here. You don't need to be perfect, okay? You just need to be honest with yourself, okay? So, yeah, let's get into our topic. So today I want to talk about something interesting, okay? I did remove the video earlier because YouTube was tripping, so I thought I might do it this way. So the Cinderella story, I want to talk about that, but more so from a lens of like a siren archetype. Now, you don't have to identify with the archetype, but I feel this may resonate, okay? It's going to resonate. It's going to land with who it's supposed to, okay? So we're going to talk about the Cinderella energy and the blueprint for any person that has outgrown their environment or is outgrowing a particular environment. Okay, that's the topic. That's what we're talking about today. Okay, make sure you guys like this video, share this video with someone you feel like it may resonate with. Okay, connect with. And later, we're also the first three people that I'm gonna do something. I'm not gonna have you guys shout yourselves out because I want you to be active and current on the live. So I'm going to call three people out for three free mini reads. So three people. And then after that, I will open the space for one question only for $22. All the information will be pinned in the chat of this live. If you're watching obviously after the live, it's no longer a offer. So you would have to book a personal reading with me, okay? All right, so let's get into our topic. Cinderella, okay? Cinderella from a siren perspective, okay? Sovereignty. We're going to talk about that archetype, that energy. So, I I get downloads every now and then from like Disney movies, things like that. I feel guided to tap in to Cinderella's energy, because I feel like it will relate from a perspective of people that are used to being silenced, where their energy, their sovereignty, their power, even if they don't recognize sometimes like the weight of their, their purpose, their calling, they don't see it yet, and other people do. And in certain environments, toxic, chaotic environments, how that could be harmful. Okay. So in this instance, we're going to talk about family abuse. Okay. Family abuse. Family abuse and labor. Let's talk about that. Okay. And how it can suppress power or your power sometimes. Cinderella was not a weak person. I feel like sometimes with certain people that carry a silent power, they're not the loudest in the room, but they're also the sensitive ones. They're the empathic people. They're the nurturers, the caregivers. Sometimes, and they like peace, right? They don't like drama. So sometimes they'll just kind of move along just to get along, right? They don't want no drama. And some people might take that as them being weak, right? As a weakness. But Cinderella, simply when it comes to her energy, she labored, right? She labored in her environment when she didn't really have to, right? She didn't have to labor. If I'm not mistaken, Cinderella was a heir, or her father had left an inheritance, but she didn't benefit just living in that space, but having to live into the barn. I think she lived in like the back of the house or something like that. So it's just kind of like an unawareness of what's meant for you and what's yours sometimes. So Cinderella's energy, I feel she was intentionally diminishing her environment. Okay. So this is what happens when someone is carrying like a rare energy, and they have to exist in this hostile environment, where there's heavy jealousy and projection, sometimes control, hierarchy games. We're above you, you're lesser than, or you're not in the club with us, you're beneath us, you can't get in, they play those type of games, to try to humble you, to control you, also forcing you to labor, and labor in a sense of carrying the emotional weight for some people, having to translate for people, certain, like having to be the bigger person, always having to be the bigger person, carry the weight, shut up, be quiet, don't say nothing, having to also deal with gaslighting as well. So it's some emotional labor, and sometimes mentally, and maybe even physically sometimes, where you do things that you don't want to do just because you don't want to be deemed as the difficult one, or the selfish person if you say no. So there's different ways that you can labor in your energy. So she wasn't just out here just sweeping and taking care of the house and scrubbing the floor. She was also, she had royalty in her blood, right? So sometimes what happens with a siren energy is you can be in an environment that is not safe for you, does not have the capacity to take care of you and pour into you. And it starts very young. Sometimes as a child, it will start very young. And you could be labeled as being too much, too sensitive, too secretive, sometimes too dreamy, too idealistic, because especially if you're someone that believes that you deserve greater for yourself, you see greater for yourself, or you don't think in the limitations or in the box that was set for everyone else, you can be looked at as like, oh, you're doing too much, you're not being realistic. So number two, when it comes to the Cinderella energy, what I noticed with her is like, even in her environment that she was in, never once was she like bitter, walked around with a chip on her shoulder, you know what I mean? She didn't fall into that story that was laid out for her. She didn't fall into the typical, scorned, wounded. It's like, and this is where I call out where people say it's a weakness, like certain people that carry silent powers and people that are sensitive, people that feel everything very deeply, which we call those empaths, right? Intuitives. They sometimes are deemed as weak because when you're met with aggression, some people feel like, well, you need to return the favor. If I'm mistreating you, if I'm bullying you, if I'm trying to silence you, if I'm abusing you, then you need to retaliate a certain way. And when you don't retaliate by force or by violence, aggression, or even being triggered in any kind of way, that is power. That is strength. It's weak to when people they allow themselves to become weakened by their emotions and their anger. Sometimes there's rightful anger and rage, and then there's times where it's like it's misguided. It's when you're not in a state of balance and you're not in a state of being able to manage or have authority over your emotions, and you allowed someone else to bait you into anger or into some sort of response. So when you don't respond to that and you don't collapse into a story that people have mapped out for you, that's your power. That's powerful. So while Cinderella's environment tried to convince her that she was servant tier, servant level of a person, but deep down inside, like in spite of that, she maintained this aura, this essence that no, I'm meant for something greater. There's something bigger for me. Like she didn't fall into that hierarchy of Cinderella, you're the servant and we're greater than you. People that have to like single people out in a sense of like hierarchy, there's a difference between like people that resonate with each other versus like who doesn't, things like that. But when you have to play like mean girl roles, like you can't sit with us because you don't have the right amount of like aesthetics and this and that, those type of games is really like it's a false hierarchy. It's a false sense of power. It's not real. You know what I mean? It's not real. So yeah, Cinderella, she didn't fold under pressure. You know, even if she was exiled in her own home, her own space, or she felt that way, when it comes to that essence, it's like she knew she was meant and destined for something greater. Even in the beginning of the movie, we're talking about like the Disney movie where the cartoon version, where she's waking up from a dream and she looks outside and she sees the castle from a distance from her window. And I always say, like, when you see windows in your dreams and things like that, those are prophetic visions of the future. So her looking outside of her window and seeing that castle is almost like she knew, she would dream about it. She would daydream about going to this ball. It was like she knew her destiny lied somewhere within that castle without romanticizing or making about love and romance, right? So even when a siren is, or a person that has those deep prophetic gifts, they deep down inside, they know they belong to something greater. They know that they exist somewhere greater. So number 3, believing in the impossible and not, refusing to internalize limitation, right, is key. So with Cinderella, the ball for her was not about romance and about meeting the prince. Her believing that she could even go to the ball in spite of all the limitations, in spite of all the word curses that she gets from her stepmother, her stepsisters, she knew within herself that she could go somewhere deep down inside. She knew she deserved to be there and that she was supposed to be there, right? So that's a form of like rebellion, but in a divine rebellion, right? So that essence, that energy, that archetype will believe in expansion, even if their world says no. Like sometimes you might fall on your ass and be like, damn, this is not going to work out or that's not going to work out. But deep down inside, when you tap into yourself, you know deep down inside that you exist in expansion. If you resonate with siren energy, especially, or mermaid energy, you know that you're meant for deeper. You know you're meant to be in an expansive space. You're not meant to be contained or confined by anything or anybody. You know that. So that was a moment where Cinderella stopped, complying and just moving to get along in a way that her household required her to, not adhering to the identity that they assigned her to, right? So that's an energy shift. Okay. You know who you are. And that's when things start to, that false foundation starts to crumble. That false identity starts to fall off of you. The more and more you believe in yourself, the more and more you believe that you're meant to expand past where you've been. So the thing about, this is how you know you're in that state of rebelling in a positive way. How you know you're in that state of rebelling is when you stop over performing for approval. You stop shrinking just to keep the peace, right? You don't want no beef, you don't want no drama, you don't want people getting upset, you don't want to deal with that, right? You stop energetically, I should say, scrubbing the floors for people. So on an emotional level, for people who resent you, playing small, hiding your visibility because you're afraid of people resenting your glow up or your growth. You start imagining a life outside of that environment or that mindset that tells you you're only servant level, or you're only this, or you're only that. You know, that's how you know you're in that rebellion stage. And that is a dangerous energy to people who benefit from your smallness, or from you being in this place of almost being controllable, even if that's not in your essence, because sometimes we can move in an energy that's not ours to keep ourselves safe, even if that's not the truth of us. You know what I mean? So rebellion is truly when you no longer accept the assigned role that people that don't wish you well or mean you well, or even people that may mean you well, but they might think too small of themselves, of the world, and in turn of you. You start to begin mentally detaching from the system, from the organization that you've been in, or the flow of how things used to be, especially if it's relationship dynamics and work politics or whatever it might be, right? And you start quietly preparing for your exit. Your exit could be of a relationship of any kind. It could be a job. It could be a living situation. It could be anything where your mind is focused on getting out of that state of mind and that environment that you've been in that keeps you restricted. Okay. So if you notice, Cinderella does not fight her step family. Going back to what I was saying about having governance over your emotions, right? She outgrows them. She's not trying to fight them. She outgrows them. Okay. So in essence, what it's going to look like on the outside is you're withdrawing the emotional labor. People will start to notice that you're refusing to internalize the sabotage. You're not sitting there blaming yourself, right? You may start to carry yourself differently, dress differently, talk differently, think bigger. You might say less. You might not communicate much. You might not share too much detail. And in turn, people are going to watch you more. Best believe that. They're going to start watching you more. Trying to see what's up with you. What's going on with you. Check in. Don't fall for the how have you been? What's going on? What you doing? Don't fall for that shit. Okay. Cinderella is castle, not dusty house. Sirens belong to the depth of the ocean, not a dusty environment. They don't belong in a jar or a bowl. They're way too expansive for that. Okay. So, yeah, that rebellious stage is uncomfortable because it feels like tension, and it might bring about some tension for real when you don't fit into that old identity anymore. Especially if you haven't relocated yet, you haven't shifted gears yet, you haven't moved out of that space that you've been in yet. It will feel very intense. Okay. It's like you're in that in between state. You haven't fully transitioned into the new, and you're still kind of in that in between before you make moves. Okay. But you're no longer compliant though. That's the key thing. Number 4, the sabotage, okay, which is predictable resistance. Almost always, and you can call this like the humiliation ritual stage of things or what have you, simple sabotage. So the scene where the stepsisters come in and they see Cinderella, or Cinderella comes down the stairs in her dress that she stitched together with the help of her, her animal friends and family, right? She comes down the stairs, she's ready to go, and they're like, the nerve of this bitch. She really thinks she going. Like, she really thought. Like, no, she did it. And then they come in and they sabotage her by ripping her dress apart. So notice this, when you try to ascend, sabotage is going to meet you at the door. Almost always. It's almost like it's a spiritual test too. But when Cinderella tries to ascend, that's when the sabotage confronts her. And so anytime when you're trying to shift and change or shift your timelines, and you're trying to do something different, you're trying to elevate, the old environment will try to pull you back in, right? People will try to pull you back down to size or two. So the ripping of her dress, it represented the attempt to destroy her identity before her transformation, before her transition. They tried to destroy her by also trying to delay her destiny, her appointed, wherever, that appointed time or place that you're meant to go. That's how you know you're about to break through, because something comes in and tries to take you off path, tries to attack you. Right. Sometimes it's even your own mind sometimes will tell you, imposter syndrome might pop up, self-sabotage. You might be tempted to sabotage something that you're meant to walk into. Right. Cinderella was meant to go to that ball. That is where her destiny, that was the threshold of her fate and her destiny, moving into a new life, that she was right on the cusp of that. So the truth is, though, even though they ripped her dress and for a moment tore her self-esteem and her hope a bit, they could not rip the essence of her, right? So sometimes people think they're doing things by they try to strip you of opportunities or try to leave you out the circle and play little games, little surface level things, little external worldly things, not knowing that God has something for you. You can't stop the show, and you can't take what's in a person. You can't steal what's in a person. Maybe for a time you can arrest it spiritually, spiritual arrest of development, feeling like you're not enough, feeling like you can't succeed, feeling like you can't take chances. So it delays you sometimes, right? If your mind is arrested, or if it's stuck in a certain timeline or belief, or those word curses are moving through you. And anytime you break free out of that, something will try to stop the show so you don't see yourself. So you'll never reach out of that capacity that you've been. So with that, number 5, divine helpers will always be present in your world. They've always been there. Whether these are people that are physically divine helpers and or on the other side. Most guaranteed it's both. Always both. So her animals, the fairy godmother, even the timing of the invitation to go to the ball, it presented itself at the divine right time for her. So divine assistance never just randomly appears in your reality, because it's always there. It appears when you're internally ready. When you're ready, that's when the external meets you and welcomes you. So the fairy godmother doesn't really represent like a savior per se, right? Although a divine presence, divine helper, she was a catalyst. She was there to help Cinderella activate what was already there for her. So, for instance, her pumpkin, the pumpkin was already there. It turned into a carriage. Her rags that were ripped and torn apart turned into that new refined gown. So, again, the things that look like curses, look like blockages, or even things that people feel like, oh, this gonna stop their flow, this gonna stop their show, this gonna humble them, this gonna shut that shit down. God will use that and transmute that shit for your good. You know? Excuse my language, but you get what I'm saying, right? Shut that shit down. You ain't stopping nothing, right? So in translation, your environment does not define your final form, your final transformation. Okay. So again, going back to sometimes when people feel like when you're not complying and you're not rah up in everybody's face that you're weak, your power is not absent. It may be dormant for a time. You know, it may be at a place of just kind of unawareness or stillness, or it's just like, if you provoke me hard enough, don't play, you know, but it's healthily contained, and sometimes it is because it has been suppressed. Okay. So number 6, divine timing and the clock. The midnight hour matters in this instance. It matters because we're talking about Kairos time. I've mentioned this in like some videos probably a few years ago, you know, talking about the Kairos time. Kairos time is perfect alignment, right? In so many different words, like just to simplify it, Kairos timing is like divine ordained. It's a portal of the perfect right time where things are in divine alignment, right? So number 12 also is significant. Number 12, if you look at it from in a numerology sense, midnight, right? Number 12. One can represent like assertion. It can represent identity. It can also represent an activation, an awareness, divine awareness, independence, right? Individuality. The number 2 can represent duality, whether that be the physical realm and the spiritual realm, or partnership, right? Collaboration. Number 3, because if you add the 1 and the 2 within the 12, it's a 3, right? Number 3 can represent creation, can represent something that's being birthed. It can represent past, present, and future energy, mind, body, and spirit, man, God. It can represent that Holy Trinity energy. So there's power in that number 12. Okay. It was a portal of time. So she was meant to be there. Okay. She was meant to arrive there at its appointed time. So just like the fairy godmother said, you got to be back by 12. That spell, technically, it wasn't permanent, right? So again, going back to Kairos timing, divine ordained timing, alignment, perfectly ordained alignments. It was a portal of time. She was meant to be there. If she wouldn't have been there, it probably would have shifted some things in her path and her destiny if she never got there. But she was supposed to be there. Hence why the fairy godmother showed up, letting her know that you're meant to be here at this right time, at this divine right time. You're supposed to be here. Okay. So that is because when you're in a period of transformation, right, it requires your integration. It requires that. And number 12 can definitely represent integration, right? So the glass slipper itself, the glass slipper is not a reference for romance of, I got to find my wifey, where she at? I only got this to go off of. I got to find this girl. No, that slipper was about her uniqueness. Only one shoe fits. Only one foot fits in that shoe. Excuse me. Only one frequency, one essence matches, right? So that represents rarity, that's recognition. That was like a energetic footprint or blueprint of who this woman is. I got to find her because there's nothing or no one like this. They don't fit. No one else fits in this shoe. I got to find that one person that could fit in that shoe. And it's crazy because they got shoe sizes for every foot in the world, right? But this is a shoe that was perfectly tailored for 1 foot. So it has the right amount of length and width and whatever, right? Number 7, the prince. The prince was more so a witness archetype, not her rescuer, right? That Prince Charming. It was, in this instance, that's not really what it was about. If you take a step back and you look at it a little different, the prince doesn't create her. She already had the energy. She already had the essence, the aura. It was already on her. He just recognized it, right? That's key. That's important. And everyone else in that environment, that room, witnessed that and recognized that. So when the prince sees Cinderella in a room, in the midst of performance, all the women trying to be seen and be picked and be chose and thinking that, beauty is enough or whatever the case may be, or if I do a little this, if I do a little that, she doesn't compete. She just walks down the steps. She doesn't audition. She doesn't try to explain who she is and what she is. She simply just appears just as she is. And he recognizes that rarity, that essence, that uniqueness, that signature, that blueprint immediately. Even if he can't name it, it's like, there's something different, right? You don't got to explain it. So the actual message with this, because another thing too, when she steps into scene, the whole room just adjusts to her. They all kind of just turn and stop whatever they're doing. She doesn't shrink to fit in with everybody else. She's just presented. Here I am. And this type of energy is very triggering to people that feel the need that they have to perform. It's triggering only because it dismantles the idea in people's minds that I can be loved, I can be seen, I can be perceived a certain way in a desirable way if I carry myself like this, if I dress like this, if I talk like this, if I behave like this, if I align with people like this. When a person they just show up and they don't have to do anything to get recognition or to be noticed, that makes people reposition themselves. And instead of them going within themselves and meeting themselves and like, okay, what is this that's triggering me? And if they go deep with themselves, if they meet that challenge, that confrontation within themselves, to go, oh, where am I performing? Most people, they instead of internalizing, they externalize and they blame another person and they start moving funny. They start trying to humble people and get jealous. Some people may try to position themselves next to that person to kind of get a little bit of that, try to figure out the sauce. Rather, it's very rare that people don't feel a way, or very rare that other people can celebrate that. So oftentimes when people just like come at you for no reason, it could be because your energy shows up in a way that's not performative, and it just is, and it shifts and moves the energy, and that bothers people that operate in performing. It can make a person feel small. Number 8, progressing outside of the environment. So Cinderella's real victory wasn't within getting chose by the prince and being married. It was her exit point. Okay. She left an environment that mistreated her, that misused her, that could not love her. Right. So the story of Cinderella, in my opinion, right, is about breaking that restriction, the containment, that false containment of spaces and places and connections and relationships that aren't for you. that try to minimize you, that try to shrink you. By outgrowing sabotage, being seen without that distortion, those word curses, those abusive experiences, and stepping into a space that matches your actual frequency. And my cat, he just be wild and child. Yeah. So, in a siren sense, or those that are deeply intuitive, that are very alluring, magnetizing, um, can hold space for people, right? Your exile looks like enduring this projection and labor, or trying to maintain this internal uh, royalty, right? Believing that you can, even just believing in the unseen opportunities that haven't even presented itself, just enough to believe in that is your power. Okay. And also what happens when you're trying to rise, the sabotage happens, right? The sabotage comes upon you. But you also receive that divine assistance at the right moment that you need it. You move when the portal of time opens up for you, right? And you're recognized by those with the eyes to see you. Okay. And that in turn brings you to a place where you leave the environments that try to shrink you. Okay. So this isn't about some person saving you and rescuing you. Cinderella was always royalty that was already there within her. She just needed to relocate. Just needed to relocate. Okay. So in this archetype, there may be 3 phases of your awakening that you'll go through. If you want to journey through that, see where you're at, maybe if it resonates, kind of get an understanding of where you are. We'll get into the collective reading in a bit to go along with this energy and this message. And then I will choose the first 3 people here in the chat, and I'll let you know and I'll call something out. And then if anyone else is interested in a mini pool of 1 question for $22, I'll open that up soon. Okay. But if this message is hitting for somebody, is resonating, go ahead and like this video. I would greatly appreciate that. Share it with someone who you feel like may also resonate with this, who might be activated by this message within themselves as well. All right, so there's 3 phases of awakening in this archetype, the Cinderella or Siren essence or energy or archetype. So not everybody, meets the story in the same exact place. We're all unique. Some of us may still be in certain environments. Some of us may be still fighting through the sabotage phase. So, and some may have already walked out of those situations, those environments, cut the cords. So let's recognize the part of our awakening where we're at. So the laboring stage, this is the phase where you're still performing an endurance, right? So like Cinderella before the ball, you may still find yourself carrying the responsibilities, maybe even the emotional labor, or expectations that diminish your light, diminish who you truly are. So your gifts may go unnoticed, or maybe even be taken for granted, overlooked purposely. So, even though this is all going on, there's still something inside of you that remains steady, keeps quiet, knowing that your life is meant for more than just this survival. So in this stage, your work is remembering, right? Remembering your worth, remembering your voice, remembering that your circumstances, your current moment does not define where you're at. It doesn't define your reality. So, the sabotage phase. The sabotage phase is the moment where you begin to rise, and that's when the resistance starts to pop up. So, old dynamics may present themselves to you. People may, who benefited from your silence may push back, may try to humble you, try to, they try to bring you back down a notch. Doubt and confusion may even surface at times, right? So just like the moment where Cinderella's dress was torn apart by her stepsisters, this stage can definitely feel painful and destabilizing to you. But it's also revealing. It's very revealing because it shows you clearly who and what is aligned with your growth and who the fuck is not. It will reveal that to you, right? You'll know who's in your corner and who's not in your corner. And this phase is, for you, the work is going to be discernment. So that's learning to trust your instincts, learning that not everyone is meant to accompany you into your next chapter, your next phase, right? Not everybody can come with along the journey. And then lastly is the relocation phase. The relocation phase is not always a physical relocation. So sometimes it's emotional. It can be spiritual. Sometimes it's simply just in the moment that you stop shrinking in order to fit in a place that cannot even hold you and support you, right? So this is the stage where Cinderella's story begins to transform, where, the victory is not in being chosen, right? Not being chosen and picked. And this is something very important that a lot of empaths and insensitive beings go through. Even if they're the most powerful, most capable, self-assured people, and even if they haven't reached that awareness within themselves yet or fully walked in that yet, sometimes what happens is because you, as humans or any species, they have a community. They have a social interaction, right, to a degree. So with humans, familiar energy, kinship is very important. Relation is very important to a human being. So when you're stripped of that, the desire becomes in the wounded stage of things, like you want to be chosen, you want to be validated, you want to be seen, you want to be loved, you want to be embraced. And those are natural desires, but sometimes it can be a bit heavy. Sometimes it can create karmic loops and karmic connections. It can cause a distortion of how you see yourself, because to be chosen by the world that is a very faulty foundation. Being chosen, because you know people can be fickle sometimes. People can be 1 minute in your corner and the next they just don't fuck with you, they don't like you, you know um people one day can be celebrating you, but the moment that you become something that makes them uncomfortable, or whatever the case may be, you say or do something, then they don't fuck with you, they don't like you. The people that are for you will love you through your transitions, even if that means they need to give you your space to grow. Maybe even hold you accountable. They'll love you through all of your seasons. Okay, you don't want faulty people that's only there as long as it's fun, or as long as, there's some type of proximity to this or that, or they benefit off of you not knowing your worth or your value, and they just take. Or they feel, better when you're beneath them, or when they perceive that you're beneath them. You don't need to be chosen by the world, because you already are chosen. You already are somebody. The world somebody may not be the somebody that you're meant to be, right? So people chase the world's definition of somebody, and chosen and picked and special and celebrated. But again, like I said, the world energy is based off of very fickle energy, very low attention span energy, very much trend based, very much so comfortable in certain social constructs and conditioning, not based off of complete total truth. So who gives a fuck? So the victory really is in leaving the environment that misidentified you and or currently misidentifies you. So in this phase, for the relocation phase, the work is embodiment. So that's like stepping into your life with clarity, dignity, and sovereignty. So knowing that you were never meant to remain in the environments that dedicated themselves to just misunderstanding you or misidentifying you. Okay. So if the Cinderella story resonates with you through that siren archetype or as an empath energy, right? Consider where you are, maybe on your own journey where this might resonate with you. Okay. All right. So yeah, if this conversation is resonating with y'all so far and you are one of these people that are navigating through these phases in your own life, I do offer private readings and spiritual support sessions and through my coaching sessions. I do have Siren Code. The Siren Code is a program that I work with those that resonate with this message, those like myself, those that may be in different phases of in their journey and transition phases. And we have coaching sessions, we have intuitive sessions and reads and spiritual work for you to do throughout that time that we work together. So if you're interested in that, that is on my website and I will leave the link in the description box for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and tap in. I'm gonna get my cards because we're gonna do like a little energy read around this message. So yeah, my work focuses around clarity within relationships and any type of energetic dynamics, and also strengthening your discernment and intuition. Okay. Also, I'm big on spiritual hygiene. So like cleansing, spiritual protection, restoration. Also, I help with reconnecting with your own inner authority, and also ancestral veneration, my favorite. My favorite. Yeah. So, all right, let's see. Yeah, and if this message speaks to you and you're new here, feel free to subscribe, okay? Share this with someone. Okay. All right, spirits, let's get some messages from my collective of those who are meant to receive this message. What parts of the collective is ready to be recognized instead of misidentified? Okay. I feel like this is connected to your passions or some type of creativity or creative spark. Yeah, connected to creativity and a creative spark. Maybe being recognized for your passions, your ambitions, your visions, your gifts, your talents. Yeah. Because it's like underneath the surface, you haven't fully popped out yet with something maybe, or fully embraced a particular energy or path just yet. It's still kind of underneath the surface, but it's like there might be waves of inspiration here and there where you might kind of pop out a little bit, but it's something that you feel, is it safe to engage? Yeah, is it safe to engage? Okay, yeah. All right. Some of you guys, it could be in like something with maybe massage therapy, Reiki healing, something with the body, okay? Body healing, energy work, okay? You might be a fire sign or something about heat. Like when you work energy, your hands get really hot or your body gets hot. Like you're good with working with energies, body work, okay? All right. Let's see. It's spirit. Yeah. It's in your heart. It's your passion. Some of you guys create like healing jewelry. So it could be like working with gemstones, beaded, jewelry for healing work. Okay, I'm seeing like green energy, heart chakra energy, or this is something that you're meant to make money doing. Okay, something you're meant to make money doing. I feel there's a sensitive side to you. Maybe a part of your story, part of your journey is you shame that part of yourself. Okay. You must release the part of you, because some of you are still in that transition of like letting go of the emotional pain. Even though you want more for yourself, it's kind of like you're still in that state of emotionally releasing. So before anything can, any type of opportunities, new beginnings can come towards you, you're going to have to make peace with what was or maybe what didn't work out. It's okay. This is what waits for you is community, because I feel like that's big for you. Community. You guys are hiding a lot of your gifts and your talents, I feel like, too. It's a lot that you have to offer, and I feel like, you might even be overwhelmed with how multifaceted your energy is. You might feel like it's complex. You don't know where to start. You get overwhelmed when you think about things, because you could be really good at a lot of things, or, multiple things. Yeah, you're very creative. Some of you guys would probably benefit, and I won't say probably, but most likely, if this is for you, will benefit from meditating with the Indian flute, or when you feel heavy, or when you feel tension in your body, or when you're feeling down or depressed. Just putting on some native flute meditation music or something will recenter you, I feel like, will ground you. Even more so if you play it while you're outside, or you're sitting outside, or maybe grounding with the earth, with the dirt, listening to these flutes. If you have an Indian flute, maybe playing the Indian flute centers you. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, when you anticipate that your opportunities and your ships are coming in, even if you don't know what these opportunities are, when, where, how they're going to happen, what they look like, when you perceive that your ships are coming in, yeah. So if you have this pattern of auditioning. Hey sis, how are you? You have this pattern of auditioning in some kind of way. It blocks your opportunities from coming in. Watering down. Yeah, you have a pattern of watering down your light, your gifts, your glow, and rightfully so, because I feel like it's you trying to protect yourself. Not wanting to be sought out, not wanting to be picked and torn apart, not to be singled out or to be humbled. So it's like, let me water myself down. It's like, no, no, Hunting. This is something that you're going to have to clear, because words have power. I feel like some of y'all dealt with a really nasty feminine energy that has a very destructive tongue. Okay. This is someone that may also like try to oversee how you elevate, how much you grow, what you're doing, or if they feel an ounce of that, they entangle you in some mess. Their words, they get in your head. Their words have power to spin a narrative in a way that's like, damn, like, you let's say You could be having a genuine day and this person, they'll ask you about it. And somehow you'll leave at the end of that conversation feeling like shit, questioning, are you really happy or whatever the fuck. It's an energy that it shifts. It's really girl. Yeah, it's like a joy stiller, like, and I'm not talking about when you're delusional and you're like, oh, that's my man, that's my twin flame, and it's like, no, it ain't, girl. Like, get your head out the clouds. Not that type of energy. Like somebody like it's when you're really in a good energy for real. Like maybe you're celebrating something. Like, hey, I got a promotion. Hey, and then that person is like, oh, how much you making? Oh, that's okay. I make 10 such salary. I've been there, done that. It's like a way to kind of like reposition, reposition things. Steal your joy. Something about climbing the ladder or something. Like this person is big on status and or it could just be people. It doesn't have to be one person, but I'm telling you, like there's a specific energy. They have the power to suck your life energy out. Like I'm getting could be the sacral chakra, could it's like it sucks the passion, it takes away your it's like the there's a word for it and it's not coming to me, like your life force almost, but not really. It's almost like your energy, like your inspiration, your motivation, your energy. It makes you feel tired, it makes you feel unmotivated, it makes you feel uncertain and ungrounded. Sometimes it could come in the guise of like it could come in a disguise of I'm just trying to help you, I'm just trying to help. But it's like just trying to help. You don't flex and trying to bang on me, you know, um, not trying to humble me. Because this is the type of person that feels comfortable giving orders. They feel comfortable when they're the one that is sought after or the one that's got it all together, that can keep it all together. And that's their own personal thing. But sometimes it's like if someone is around and they feel like they might potentially, because again, if you're in the mindset of I have to be bigger and better than everyone else around me, and if someone triggers that and it makes them feel like this person is one-upping me in a sense of like a person just celebrating something that they have going on in their life and they feel the need to reposition it in a way of saying, oh yeah, I've been there, done that, or it's just like something to like bring you back down a notch. So just be mindful of that, okay? I didn't mean to spend so much time on that motherfucker, but and I'm getting like people that nosy energy, right? Nosy, trying to, they don't really care about your day, how you feel. They just want to know what you got going on so they can be nosy and try to control or just keep score. It's not for your best intentions, right? You can tell the difference. So let's see. You deserve, so Spirit saying like what it looks like for you to be genuinely loved and cared for, community wise and romantically, is it's emotional balance. I feel when it's familiar, communal, tribal vibes, right? Soul tribe. It's an energy that's emotionally balanced, okay? It's not here to overwhelm, to take away, or to smother you per se, because overly emotional energy, pouring way too much too soon, that's not healthy, right? In most cases, it's like that's love bombing in some instances. and also withholding emotional energy. That's not healthy, right? So this is a healthy balance of I give you your space, I give you your time, I'm here for you, I got you, I support you behind the scenes and out loud. I, pour into you. And it's also a person that honors their time, their space. It's very free. It's not restrictive. It's not controlling. It's not, it doesn't try to click up too soon. It doesn't try to move into relationship too soon. It builds, it flows, and it's organic space. And you're not too much. You're not too much for the right people, the right person. When it comes to romantic energy, romantic love, the same energy applies, but also to add on to this is like a person that loves you out loud. This isn't someone that plays games with you, withholds, plays power games, holds things over your head. If you know, you might have this friction inside of yourself that says, if I give too much, or if I show too much too soon, this person's going to play me. They're going to remove their energy. Or they might think that I'm weird. Like you and the person that is for you, right? And the people that are for you, you're not too much for them, right? These are people that will resonate with you in your authenticity, which is why it's important to not play these games. And what I mean by that is you will always be magnetizing, right? You will always have an allure about you, but a part of the game and what we can learn from siren energy is that though yes, my energy is alluring, it is magnetizing, it is powerful, it is deep, but I have say so over the access that I allow people to have based on their capacity and level to meet me. I know that not everybody is going to be able to meet me at the depths of me, so I can't just allow anyone to just, you know what I mean? I can't just allow that, I can't allow anyone into those intimate spaces of my heart and my mind and my body and my soul. You know, I have to assess the situation. I have to get to know. I have to ground myself and ground my energy. Because sometimes what happens when we forge relationships too soon in any type of relationship, not just romantic ones, before we truly get to know people, before we see them and before they can see the truth of who we are in layers, sometimes we'll engage too soon. And when like the truth of a person comes out, or if there's a part of the self that someone is like not ready for or thinks is too much or whatever, then it's like, damn, who are you? I don't know this person. Or dang, I didn't know you were like that. And people have the right to choose whether they want to engage with you or not, or whether you're their cup of tea or not. You want who's for you. So playing games and pretending not to be a certain way or pretending to be one way is never going to attract the right crowd, if that's what you're seeking. There's some people that maybe they're safe to reveal you and your vulnerability, and there's some people that you don't feel that way, or you might feel more comfortable with your friends than you are with your family, or you might feel more comfortable with your homeboys, your homegirls over a partner because maybe wounding and trauma that has happened to you, right? So this is not about engaging too soon or pouring too much of yourself. Like, show up as your authentic self, but know when to give access to only what is at a safe, comfortable, and level of, okay, if I know I just met this person, they're not my man, they're not my girl yet, I don't care, we just met. Or I just met this person, I'm not going to label them as my friend before I really know who they are. They're just an associate for now. This is a coworker. I probably shouldn't be sharing certain things with this coworker, right? You have to, it's discernment. Discernment. And some people is like, bitch, that's common sense. But some people just don't really understand that. They feel like if I'm to be authentic, that means I gotta lay it all out. No, in doses, boo. In doses and in moderation, or just sometimes not at all, because you learn some people are just not safe for that. Just like with certain friends, this is my homegirl that I go out with, or my homeboy that I go out with, or we go to the gym together, or this is my work friend. But this is not a friend of intimacy where I can lay it all out. This is not that type of person. You know, this is the person you go to the bar with after work. And I don't even advise that because sometimes that could be messy, child. Because some people just be, you know. But yeah, so that, you know, that's the type of love that's meant to meet you. It's free. It's not there to smother you, you know, to take from you or to withhold from you or play games with you, and just in a community sense as well. And the opportunities also too, an aligned opportunity, a divine aligned opportunity, it feels right in your spirit. It doesn't feel like strings attached. It doesn't feel manipulative. It meets you with love. It meets you with compassion. It meets you with celebrating you. Dolphins, dolphins might be significant to you guys, especially when it comes to community and friendship. Dolphins may symbolize something for you. Okay. Let's see what else. Spirit is yeah. For real, yeah, spirit's reiterating this, like your boundaries, like your standard, even if it's you holding this boundary up to yourself, like holding yourself accountable, you know, keeping that discipline, having boundaries even with yourself when it comes to your emotional capacity, right? Because you have that depth, you have a big heart. If that heart has been broken too many times, you might operate from a place of being a little too closed off. Or if the heart is very raw and very open and it still seeks to be loved and to be validated in a sense of over giving and over pouring, you have to have that boundary, that balance. Yeah, it's time to shift. This boundary setting is going to shift something for you in a big way, and it aligns for you. What is it going to bring? Because yeah, this Wheel of Fortune, this Wheel of Fortune is telling me like this boundary, if you set this boundary in a healthy way, something is going to shift in a positive way and something's going to align for you. What is it? Spirit, what is it? What is it? Yeah, because that will also help participate in you releasing the weight of like the emotions like that are tied to the many cups that you poured into that didn't pour into you, or the time that you feel like you've spent or maybe you feel like you've wasted. It will help you release and detach from that energy, and much more light. You'll feel much more lighter. You might even participate with life a little bit different, a little bit more liveliness and presence, almost like in a childlike way. So if you're someone that's naturally goofy and playful, you might like not give a fuck about who's looking and who's watching. You're not hiding those parts of yourself. You don't give a fuck anymore. Yeah. And it also attracts like soul tribe energy more, or strengthens the soul tribe that you already have. When you do this, it's like a breath of fresh air. You'll feel lighter. It's like your body will feel very fluid. If you're a dancer, or you might feel drawn to get into dancing of some sort, a dance class, or going somewhere and go dancing, like this is the healing that you need. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm gonna ask one more energy question. We're gonna tap in. Anything else, the spirit? Ooh, Nova, you scared the shit out of me, girl, with your fur. Girl, don't tickle me like that, girl. Oh, no. Okay. Ooh, 10 of Cups. Okay. Um, you might be in that stage of, like, recognition, like, where the right people, the right person sees you. It's very important that your inner child feels seen, because when you're moving in the inner child, it's like you attract another pure soul like yours, or pure souls like yours. Yeah, it's like a season of who you used to be and what you wish with who you used to be, and which brought you about the wisdom that you that's going to carry you into your next chapter. You're laying that person to rest. Thanks to the dragon year and this snake year, it has helped you to shed the skin, to awaken you, and also to help you shed and activate you, even because this energy that you're in is like fresh starts vibrationally first, because that's how things are activated. It starts within the spirit first. It starts in the internal realm and then the external. That's how things usually manifest, right? So on an internal level, your energy might be more lively, might be more free flowing, less tense, less in survival mode, And there's something with dance. I keep getting dancing. So some of you, it could even be dancing in your own home. Some of y'all might want to get into like those hula hoop type of dances and stuff like that. Like not just around your waist, but some people that know how to like spin them and like put them over their head and do all kind of fancy shit with the hula hoop. That might be something you want to get into, or maybe more. There's definitely something with the movement of the body. Okay. To anchor you and to ground your energy. Some of you, if you wear anklets, start wearing anklets that have maybe gems and crystals, like authentic, genuine stones, or that has copper. If it's metal, like copper based. Kyrie shells, maybe like bells, bones. There's something about the earth and grounding with your anklets help center you and ground you, but they can also be a form of spiritual protection. Okay. The unicorn energy is standing out to me as well. So we are in the horse year right now, the Chinese zodiac. So the fire horse to be exact. And this is the energy of the wands. So fire energy for sure. This energy is helping you to move with more precision and like flow, and something to do with like your inner child reset energy. Leopards can be significant as well, or just like the movement, the strategy, the subtle, it's like strategy, it's focus, something about leopards. If you've been having dreams about babies or giving birth, or something, like having a dream of a baby being taken from you, or wanting to protect your baby, even if you don't have a child in the physical realm, that child represents a part of yourself that a part of you that feels pure and untainted, and you're worried maybe about it being taken from you, or it's showing you something that you hold dear to you, or something that's about to birth through you. But if it's like a dream where you feel like you need to protect that baby, or you feel that they're in danger, or something is looming around it, or something has taken your baby, then this is you feeling like some part of you has been compromised, or you fear it being compromised or taken from you. It could be also your goals, your ambitions, your dreams. There's something around that you need to release. Okay, if you're having dreams like that. But other than that, that is the reading. That is the reading, child. I hope that resonates with you. But yeah. Yeah. So have anybody on the chat other than Tawanza? Is there anybody on the chat? Because if not, that will just conclude it, because we got to have some participants. Okay, obviously, right? But yeah, if you guys resonated with this reading, not just like it, don't just share it. Okay, if you vibe with the energy over here, and you want to become a part of the tribe, of course, subscribe, right? But if you want to go a little bit deeper, like I said, I do offer personal readings, okay? So, you're navigating through one of these things, 3 or 4 of these things that we discussed here, and you just kind of want to touch base and get some clarity. I got you, okay? I do offer audio recorded readings, and I also offer 30-minute and hour phone session reads, as well as coaching sessions and my Siren Code. My Siren Code sessions are also available, and that might be more resonant of this sort of energy, right? Especially those that are removing themselves from toxic environments, things like that. Um, So yeah, Siren work is definitely, like I said earlier, is definitely a discernment work, of course, and owning your voice is a big part of that as well. Okay. But okay, so I see Black Star. Oh hell, who's calling me? Oh no, girl. No, girl. No, my girlfriend. Okay. All right, Brandon, that's one. I need 2 more people. If not, we can just call it a day. And I'm just like, um. So, Brandon, what is your question? Leave your question in the chats. If you want to keep things general, just what you need to know, that's fine as well. You don't have to have a specific question. Tawanda, do you have a question? If Tawanda responds, then that makes it 2. And then that will mean I only need 1 more person. If not, we'll shut it down. What's on the other side of your blockages? Okay. All right, let's see. Holy Spirit, Source, God, ask for permission to tap into Black Star. You know who he is, his energy, his divine team, his angels, his ancestors, his divine highest self. I ask for divine wisdom, divine truth, and clarity. And what is the other side of their blockages? What is the other side? What is the other side of his blockages? What is the other side? Okay. Something about your path, a map. Okay, so you could be seeking guidance or just kind of clarity about like where you're supposed to be right now. What are you supposed to be doing? Yeah, something about your path. The other side, what's on the other side of your blockage is it is some sort of, I feel like it is connected to you doing something different, or as a result of you doing something different, changing your circumstances in some kind of way, like not doing the same thing that you've always done, or approaching life or decisions in the same way. It's like once you crack the code of doing something different, things start to align for you in multiple ways. I'm getting something with Saturn energy and Neptune energy. So I don't know if you've ever looked into your natal chart, but I would tap into what planets or what houses Saturn falls in and what planet Neptune falls in your chart, because that could give you a bit more clarity. But Saturn and Neptune is standing out to me, and maybe even your moon sign or where your moon is in your one of your houses. Yeah, the moon, Saturn, and Neptune, but specifically the most strongest. There's something about what's the right word? It's something about like your blockages, like it's something with Saturn and Neptune playing a role in that. That's what I'm getting strongly. Like I would look into that. And if you don't understand it, I would just like look up like the best references you can. Like, okay, how does Saturn affect my life and this, and that? Like, and even the house that it falls in, pay attention to the house. And if there's a zodiac sign in that house, with the Saturn and the Neptune placement, like look into all of that. Yeah. What does it mean when my Saturn is in such and such house and under this zodiac sign and so on and so forth? Like look into that. Saturn, Neptune, and the moon. Okay. Hopefully that helps. All right. Um, hmm. You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Tawanda, are you still on here, girl? If not, um, yeah, I could take two more people for a free question. If not, we will conclude this live. Nova, what you want, girl? Did you have a question, sis, that you want to ask? It can be general, doesn't have to be specific if you want to keep it open. What does Spirit wants you to know? Okay. All right, Holy Spirit, we clear all previous energies and messages. We send love, light, and peace. All right, let's go ahead and tap in. Miss Tawanda, Spirit asks for permission to tap into Wanda's energy of what you want her to know. What is your divine message to her? What is her highest self, her divine highest self, her divine team, angels, ancestors, and guides want her to know? Okay. Ooh, I love this card. It's so cute. It's like a merman and a merwoman like exchanging, and then you got two dolphins in the back. So let's see. This is obviously about relationships, but I feel like a relationship within a friendship. There's something that is meant or written for you connected to partnership, but it's like it's a deep love bond, but it's also a friendship, and it feels like it's a call, like you calling them and they calling your energy to them. But it could all be spiritual. It could just be in the subconscious. It could just be in the heart right now. It may not be physical energy yet, but it does feel like somebody that has the capacity to meet you in your depths. You know, someone that's not just surface level. This person, it could also be friendship energy too. It doesn't have to just be romantic, but I feel like it's a blend of like a partnership that is, you know, their deep friendship, deep bonds. Let me see. Yeah, it's like it's something that's written, that's meant, I guess, in other words. The dolphin energy is standing out to me, and it did come out in, it came out in your, not in your reading, but it came out in the reading that we just did, the collective reading. So there might be something to that. I know that dolphins have a healing vibration in their voice. They're also like the guardians of the sea. So it's something that's guiding you. The only way that, like, I shouldn't say the only way, but the biggest, most aligned way to merge or connect with this energy is going to be through, I'm hearing synchronized, but that doesn't make sense really. But I heard synchronized, but it's through some sort of like vibes, like you listening and discerning the vibes. And I feel like when you encounter this type of connection, you're going to know, because this person is kind of similar to you. It's like y'all have a similar love language. This is not one of those type of connections where you feel like, if I'm too emotionally open, or I show my depth, or I show my purity, I show, a level of innocence, that it's going to be met with someone that wishes to exploit me. It's not that, because I feel like this person has that energy in them as well that mirrors yours. So it's going to be easy to spot a fellow being like you. That's what I'm getting from this. It's a love energy. And I'm getting something through visions of the heart. So whatever you envision in your heart, it exists. It is something that is written for you. And I keep seeing the number 64. I see the number 604 on the clock all the time. 640, like, though that number is like very significant, it follows me all the time. It's been following me for years. So that number might be significant because my phone charger or charge percentage was at 64. So that might be significant. Okay. And I know that's a 10 actually. 6 and 4 is 10, and this is the year of the 10. So some sort of revelation about this energy. But yeah, it does sound promising. Yeah. But it's something with dolphins. Maybe look into that and like what that pertains to in the matters of love and the heart, because I feel like there's something significant about those two dolphins right here. And Spirit says yes, yes card, yes. Okay. All right, so if there's nobody else heard, it's not in the shadows, I'm going to conclude it and say that I did my community service for the day. Yeah, Moya, yes. Dolphins are so precious to me. I love dolphins. When I go to this particular beach, like I be like, please, I be trying to summon them. Like, I want to see y'all. And I be so happy. I love dolphins. Them and elephants. So like, I love elephants and dolphins so much. But yeah, girl, you're welcome. I appreciate you for being here as well, sis. So I'm going to conclude this live, you guys. I appreciate you. I'm going to put my links and things up. If you guys are drawn to getting a reading, you feel called to receive a message or reading, I would be so grateful to assist and help y'all, okay? Give me y'all community service, okay? We getting that community service in, okay? No, but I'm going to close this reading. Y'all be blessed, be safe, take care, okay? Stay sovereign, okay? And until the next one, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Much love.